Coming up on Mountain News this morning, President Joe Biden is walking back on a promise made this year with presidential pardon of Hunter Biden. Plus, President-elect Donald Trump keeps adding on to his next administration with the inclusion of FBI and DEA directors during the weekend.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning and thanks for joining us. I'm Madison Carmouche. We're at 6 o'clock this Monday morning and today is December 2nd. Let's check in with meteorologist Megan Desmall for a look at your forecast this morning. Now, Megan, we had some snow over the weekend, but it doesn't seem like it's done just yet.
It is not done just yet. We do have that slight bit as we're going into your evening hours, but we'll be clear for the most part this morning. We did have a flake or two left over from Sunday, but for most of today, you'll be nice and dry until that second chance comes in. But let's take a look at those current temperatures this morning, because that will be the main thing that you'll need to be thinking out for this morning. With those temperatures nice and cold, you will want to make sure you're warming up your vehicle before you're heading out of the door this morning. We're in the upper 20s for most of the area, and it feels like, especially as you're heading more towards the western part of the area with the higher wind, will have the colder feels like. So just be prepared as you're heading out this morning, and we'll be warming up slightly into those forecast highs in the mid 30s. And as we look at that live pinpoint Doppler radar, you can see the snow that we had this morning that's tapering off, and it'll be completely gone as you're heading into in just a couple of hours. But as we look at that day planner, there you can see we'll have those sun chances peeking out a little bit as you're heading into the midday mark, but the clouds will really start to take over as you're heading into about 5 p.m. with that chance of snow starting around 7 p.m. Madison.
All right, Megan, thank you. President Joe Biden has given his son a, quote, full and unconditional pardon. Hunter Biden had faced up to 42 years in prison for gun and tax crimes. Now he's likely to remain free, as Amy Kiley reports.
Joe Biden's pardon here of his son, in all likelihood, to a virtual certainty, did spare Hunter Biden from having to go to prison.
Hunter Biden is vowing to help others struggling with addiction after receiving a full pardon from his father. President Joe Biden says he changed his mind about clemency for his son because he thinks politics has caused a miscarriage of justice.
We'll never know definitively whether Hunter Biden was given lenient treatment or harsher treatment because of his name, but I can tell you based on my experience, he was certainly given different treatment than an ordinary person.
Hunter Biden is convicted of possessing a firearm while addicted to or using illegal drugs and has pleaded guilty to tax crimes related to money he has since repaid. In total, the charges against him carry a maximum sentence of 42 years in prison.
I think what happened in this case is the pendulum sort of swung from one extreme to the other, and you ended up with an outcome that the president felt necessary to issue a pardon on.
Republicans are blasting the pardon. It's unlikely to go over well with Democrats either. But analysts say the president's overriding motivation wasn't political.
What you're talking about here is, Biden taking a step that is going to be very controversial, even with his own party, to protect his son.
As a father, it was probably pretty difficult not to proceed.
I'm Amy Kiley reporting.
The pardon covers all potential crimes from roughly the past decade. That span includes Hunter Biden's controversial tenure on the board of a Ukrainian gas company. There's fallout this weekend over President-elect Trump's controversial pick for FBI Director Kash Patel, who has previously pledged to dismantle the agency. Despite holding several positions in the first Trump administration, Patel is facing criticism for a lack of experience as well as his controversial positions. Patel's Senate confirmation could be an uphill battle. While many Republicans agree with his goals for the FBI, others have previously said it should operate free of presidential influence.
He has a serious professional background. He was a prosecutor. He was a public defender. He was a senior intelligence staffer on Capitol Hill.
Trump's pick also underscoring his dislike for the current FBI director, Chris Wray, whose term isn't set to end until 2027. Wray now faces the choice to either resign or wait to be fired. President-elect Donald Trump says he plans to nominate Chad Chronister to serve as the head of the Drug Enforcement Agency. Chronister is currently the sheriff in Hillsborough County, Florida. President-elect Trump released a statement on Saturday that said, in part, for more than 32 years, Sheriff Chad Chronister has served the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office and received countless commendations and awards for keeping his community safe. President-elect Donald Trump is warning a group of countries that work together on economic and political issues not to create a new currency that would compete against the dollar. The so-called BRICS countries include Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. 5 other nations joined BRICS this year, including Iran, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and Ethiopia. Trump says if BRICS nations move away from the dollar, the countries will face 100% tariffs during his administration. Sunday, President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden hosted an event to commemorate World AIDS Day. The Bidens were joined by AIDS survivors, their families, and advocates on the White House lawn. According to the White House, the purpose of the event was to discuss the administration's historic work to advance policy solutions to the HIV/AIDS epidemic at home and abroad.
I'm proud to announce, before the end of my term, the Center for Medical and Medicare and Medicaid Services will update its guidance on HIV care, encouraging states to adopt the best practices using the latest science and technology. It matters. It matters.
The president is now heading to Angola. It will be his first trip to the African continent during his presidency. Biden is hoping to strengthen U.S. and Africa relations during his visit this week. While a cave system may not be your first thought when it comes to a winter wonderland, Mammoth Cave National Park rangers and volunteers certainly made things merry and bright as they hosted the park's 46th annual Cave Sing Sunday afternoon. Though the Cave Sing itself is only 46 years old, the tradition of singing holiday songs in the cave dates all the way back to the 19th century. Since then, the tradition has only grown, drawing in approximately 550 people this year to hear performances from the park's own Hillary Sward, the Heart of Kentucky Chorus, Lindsay Wilson College singers.
It is really a wonder that is in this world, and so to be able to come deep into literally the layers of the earth is just a really cool experience. To be able to have our families to come and to support the kids and for them to just experience nature in a very raw, authentic way, and to be able just to celebrate all that is within the Christmas season as we're here.
Attendees were able to walk the full hike to the cave as well as tour a part of the cave system to hear the performers, all completely free of charge. For more than 112 years, the United States Postal Service has accepted letters to Santa as part of their Operation Santa initiative. Kids and those in need can write letters to Kris Kringle, and if they do, they just might find some gifts coming their way through the mail.
One thing that I want to assure anyone writing a letter to Santa is that their identity is protected. Those letters are redacted. Letter adopters are required to register, and they can look for letters by state, but beyond that, we do not offer any additional details just to protect the identity of the letter writers.
Letters to Santa must be postmarked by December 9th, and adopters need to have gifts sent by December 16th. This year, USPS has also teamed up with Toys R Us to make it even easier to be Santa's helper by ordering items online that will be sent to an Operation Santa recipient.
And this morning is quite cold. It would be no surprise if you were in that Christmas spirit, because it sure does feel like it's the end of December. I mean, take a look at that temperature this morning at the London Corbin Airport, 27 degrees, and throughout the entire rest of the area, you can expect the upper 20s to be the temperature for right now. But as you go into your high temperatures, we'll see the mid-30s across the board. There's the Cumberland Valley and then the Kentucky River Valley. There you go. Still seeing the mid-30s, and the same thing will happen as you're heading to that Big Sandy Valley, but it will be a little bit colder as you're heading more towards the east. 32 degrees in Williamsburg and Logan, and 31 for Clintwood and Grundy. So again, it's going to be a cold day. You're going to need that coat all day long, but you can download that WYMT First Alert weather app to get information such as the hour-by-hour forecast, where you can see will stay cloudy with some sun peeking out as you're going into the midday, but those clouds really will be the story until we have those snow chances this evening. Madison.
All right, thanks, Megan, and thank you for joining us on Mountain News this morning. More news is on the way. Cyber Monday is here and could set a new spending record as some items see big discounts for the online sale.